So originally I was going to make a video arguing for the FX2. It's basically an FX30 that can shoot true 24 and 30p in full frame. And for stills, you get an A7IV with no compromises. You're literally getting two cameras in one. And it can do things that neither an FX30 or an A7IV could do by themselves. So for the price of one camera, you get two cameras with no compromise versus buying two bodies. The A7V killed that video. Looking at the A7V, it looks like it's a baby A12 in an A7IV body with a 33 megapixel sensor instead of a 50 megapixel sensor. Sure, you're getting less buffer. The flash sync doesn't work with the electronic shutter, but the mechanical shutter has been improved to flash sync at 1/250 versus 1/160 of the A7IV. Aside from that, it also shoots 60 frames per second in full frame for video and 120 frames per second in APS-C crop for video. The arguments in favor of the FX2 now are much more nuanced. The color science of the FX2 sensor is better matched by default with the other Cinema Line cameras. The UI is the Cinema Line UI, including shutter angle, big six, etc. And you can make the case that there's probably going to be longer firmware support for the FX2. The Cinema Line updates far less frequently than the Alpha series, and management has stated that in the Cinema Line, they want to provide value through firmware updates versus multiple hardware updates. So they want to see better UI uniformity and base feature sets, which could be a big plus. The Alpha line is notorious for introducing new features in lower spec cameras while failing to port over these new features in higher spec but older camera bodies. But that's about it for the FX2's advantages. So going into 2026, it's kind of a hard sell to recommend the FX2 outside of some niche cases where maybe you have multiple FX bodies and you just want to stay within the same ecosystem, or you need to use the command and control app or something like that. But if you just have one camera and you're looking to get the best hybrid use case in terms of video and photos, in the Sony line, it's going to be hard to beat the A7V now. If the FX2 was a hard proposition when it first launched, it's almost impossible to justify one now going into 2026. As an FX2 owner though, I don't regret buying the FX2, but it is what it is. It's already been superseded.